Chapter 131, Mark's Factory. Jai Guanli never met the fourth prince, so he wondered whether the person sitting before him is the infamous leader of Web, the strongest spy network in the empire. Guanli's question brought back Mark to reality. The latter answered, "Who am I is of no importance to you. But then again, I was actually quite foolish to discuss the future with you, which you don't have anyway. With such meager strength, your clan is also doomed. So how about we talk about something else? Tell me, what do they teach in your academy?" "Just what in the hell do you want?" Jai Guanli roared at him in frustration before started coughing a bit. It was clear how massive the difference is between Mark and Elena's interrogation. The teenager doesn't even have the energy to argue, much less fight. For the first time, he regretted taking the advancement pill. How could he have expected that he will run into trouble even with his elite guards? Now that he got what he wanted, Mark felt that he had no use of him any longer and asked Elena to knock him out again for a couple of hours. Later, Jai Guanli woke up again and was offered food for dinner, and then was tied his limbs with a rope. The next day morning, Mark woke up from sleep. As soon as he opened his eyes, they met with another pair of eyes. It was Elena. She greeted with a smile, "Good morning, big brother." He was in a crouching position in the front chamber of the battle tank. His head was in Elena's lap. The android assistant doesn't need sleep or feel any back pain even if she sat in the same position for years. To pass the time all night long, she read Journey to the West at a slow pace. Meanwhile, the heir of Jai clan was imprisoned in a panzer, sleeping in a sitting position. In the middle of the night, after the aftereffects of the pill disappeared, the teenager tried to escape, but with Elena keeping an eye on the panzer every moment, he was caught by her. She pierced his body lightly with the daggers and used the proto's energy in her daggers to suppress his ether energy. All the night, the tips of those daggers were embedded in both of his thighs, effectively paralyzing his body. Upon waking up, Mark stepped outside of the tank and had brushing, followed by breakfast, early at 5 o'clock, then, finally sitting on a flat rock in a lotus position. Open inventory. He took out the black pills from the inventory and swallowed them one after another. Ding, your intelligence is increased by 0.1 points. Ding, your intelligence is increased by 0.1 points. Ding, your intelligence is increased by 0.1 points. Ding, your intelligence is increased by 0.3 points. Ding, your intelligence is increased by 0.3 points. Ding, your intelligence stat has crossed 5. Proceed to breakthrough. Yes, proceed. Ding, congratulations. You successfully broke through to rank 5. Ding, you completed the main quest II. You received 8,000 credits as a reward. Ding, you received a new summon, Lightning Wolf. Ding, you received a new summon, Tundra Bear. Ding, your share in the purchases of system-created weapons was increased from 50% to 60%. Ding, you unlocked a new function, Factory. Check the character for details. Ding, you received a beginner's package. Check out the inventory. Ding, you received a new main quest. Ding, your bloodline skill, Absolute Freezing, has been upgraded. Ding, your bloodline skill, Ice Bolt, has been upgraded. Absolute Freezing, freeze your surroundings for 120 seconds. Range, 200 meters. Cost, 10,000 ether points CD, 30 minutes. Ice Bolt, conjure any number of ice spears with your ether energy to attack your enemies from far away, with each spear containing 100% of your magic power. Int. Range, 200 meters. Cost, 20% ether energy. CD, 0 seconds. Ding, you received a new main quest. Check the quest list for the details. Main quest II, make a breakthrough to rank 6. Reward, 16,000 credits. Main quest III, make your own weapon for the first time. Condition, need to score at least 7 when being evaluated by the system. Reward, Assistant Robot, rank 1. No fucking shit, making own weapon. An assistant robot. Mark's eyes widened. He only wanted to increase his magic strength int, so that he can eradicate the legendary realm Beast King, but he didn't expect another reward like this. Maybe it's due to 6 points of luck. He couldn't help but wonder. Ever since he purchased the Ring of Luck and slowly came out of unlucky status, everything is going for him too well. In fact, the progress was too fast, one should say. He didn't waste any time opening the character menu and clicking on the factory. A new holographic screen appeared before him with details. Mark's Factory. Level 1. Available machines: a drill press 1, a welder 1, a milling machine 1, and a lathe 1. Available time: 30 minutes. Cooldown: 24 hours. Go. 30 minutes, huh? Well, something is better than nothing. Let's see how it looks like. He clicked on Go. Ding, your consciousness is being teleported to the factory. Prepare yourself. Mark was still sitting on a rock, but his soul appeared somewhere else in a small chamber with machines before him. There was a robot standing before him. Unlike the androids, it was a normal robot but with AI software. Mark inspected it. Robot 1. Rank 1. Type Support. Description: an assistant robot that will help the host to make the weapons. Mark sighed in relief. I thought I have to do all the work. Thankfully, the system took care of that issue. After all, I'm a weapon designer, not a gunsmith. Wait for a second, what about the materials? Do I need to buy them from the market? Ding, open the beginner's package. Ah, I almost forgot about it. Mark remembered the reward and opened the inventory, clicking on the beginner's package. Ding, you received a 10 kg slab of stainless steel, 10 kg slab of iron, 10 kg slab of aluminum alloy, 1 kg slab of titanium, and 1 kg of smokeless powder. According to the images, all of them looked like they were perfectly refined. It's cool and all, but they won't be enough. I still need to care about other things like rubber grip and recoil springs. Maybe I need to research the metals. There are various metals that I don't know, or maybe they were just called with different names. I need to gather information and make contacts with the dealers who can provide me with those. Okay, I have spent enough time. Let's return. We'll get to this weapon making after returning to the store. After all, I finally got the opportunity to bring out my knowledge into the real world. I shouldn't be thinking of some ordinary handgun at all. After returning to reality, Mark opened his eyes and started absorbing the ether crystals until he reached 2,000 ether points before he got into the battle tank. The Panzer was also dismissed, and Jai Guanli was brought back to the tank. Elena sit in the middle, and Mark started the vehicle before driving the vehicle towards the east. Their next destination is an infamous dungeon that hasn't been cleared for a decade. Chapter 132.1, Taming a Beast King, Part 1. Originally, Mark planned to hand over Jai Guanli to the Kunyu bandits as a present, but because of the fuel capacity of the battle tank, he decided to keep him hostage until he was done with the next dungeon and return by helicopter. As for the dungeon, it is indeed a special one. Unlike other dungeons, it is small and only contains 5 monsters, so more than a dungeon, it's like a prison. But why hasn't it been cleared yet? It's because this overlord that was trapped inside it is a legendary realm Beast King. The other 4 monsters were in the 7-circle realm. A decade ago, a lot of fools risked their lives to gain treasures or clear the dungeon, but over time, the numbers reduced, and eventually it was abandoned. At first, Mark intended to go to another dungeon located in the southern Yuan after clearing the first one, but then, after seeing how easily the man-faced spider Taslim was defeated, he decided to gamble on it and is also excited to see the emergency quest and its bountiful reward. It took 2 hours for the battle tank to reach a valley. Because the dungeon firmly holds a legendary realm Beast King as the prisoner, it is so big that it can be seen from even 100 km away. Not to mention, every dungeon emits a special type of dense energy that can be sensed by a high-level spirit warrior. So it wasn't difficult for Mark and Elena to find it as long as they knew the location, although it was a bit difficult to reach that place. The road was quite bumpy and filled with wild bushes, flowers, and grass. Since rarely any adventurer comes to this place, no one bothered to make a proper route like with other dungeons. The giant dungeon portal was blue, just the same as a decade ago, stating that there's no dungeon break going to occur. Of course, because of how powerful it is, it goes without saying that the Yuan clan, which manages the southern Yuan province, kept its eyes on it constantly. A tower was constructed on the top of the hill, and 3 soldiers were stationed there. Their job is to simply monitor the situation. Because there's no adventurer attempted to go there for the past 18 months, the 3 soldiers just enjoyed the peace. One of them is sleeping inside the tower, and the other 2 made a fire and is cooking breakfast while chatting. Because of how quiet the place is, the noise escaped by the battle tank's engine is enough to disturb them. Both of them spotted the battle tank that is going towards the portal. "Brother Mo, what is that?" one of them asked. "That is one strange puppet, Brother Cow," the other commented. "Is it the puppet sect?" the soldier surnamed Cow wondered out loud. They just take a note and continued their business. It's not their job to stop someone to commit suicide, so they were indifferent to it. Meanwhile, the battle tank entered the portal, and the surroundings changed to that of a simple plain ground, with 2 4 portals standing right beside each other. Mark readily stopped the vehicle and read the notifications. "Ding, you entered the dungeon of Savage Baltro." "Ding, you received an emergency quest, clear the dungeon." Quest, clear the dungeon. Description, either tame or kill the dungeon overlord Savage Baltro. Difficulty, rank 8. Risk, extreme. Reward, self-propelled howitzer PZH 2000. I remember the code. It's Panzerhaubitze. Mark's eyes lit up instantly. This one is even more powerful than the battle tank I have right now, but why is there such a huge reward? Is the difficulty level too high, or does the howitzer have weak skills? Or maybe? After brief thinking, he asked in his head, "System, is this an ungraded one like the Panzer?" Ding, yes, the howitzer isn't an ether weapon but can be mass-produced. No wonder, Mark nodded in realization. After all, the first ether weapon that is waiting to be mass-produced needed so much work. The system wouldn't give him a weapon that is even more powerful than the battle tank V that easily. He then climbed up the ladder and peeked outside to inspect each portal. A frown appeared on his face. All 4 of them are rank 7 portals. Then, where is the Beast King? Mark looked around. The place isn't some endless landscape. The blue barrier could be seen around the place. Since this wasn't exactly like a usual dungeon, he thought the rules must be also different. Mark glanced at the unconscious teenager and then at Elena. "I'll leave him in your care once again." Elena looked at him in worry. "But big brother, can you take care of yourself? They are strong beasts, you know." An hour ago, he was purposely knocked out so that he wouldn't get to see the real prowess of this battle tank. Who knows whether the Kunyu bandits will decide to send him back or use him as a ledger for something. Now another issue had occurred for him. He thought he can just ignore them and go straight for the boss. Since his skill attack can lock the target, he planned to stay at the dungeon entrance and just shoot the target from far away. If something unexpected happens, he will drive in reverse and get out of the dungeon. But here the situation is a bit different. Or maybe this occurred because he hadn't gathered enough information during his stay at Sui province. After all, he never planned to clear this dungeon. But consecutive breakthroughs during the past 2 weeks changed his opinion. The battle tank cannot take out 7 circle beasts. Last time, it was completely thrashed down by the Cerberus with 1 attack, although it has more to do with the fact that Cerberus is a beast king, but still, he knew that it cannot contend against those beasts. And there's no guarantee that Elena can defeat them too. The fact that she was unable to defeat Bai Zun clearly tells that she was weaker than them. And until those 4 protectors are defeated, a passage that leads to the final boss might not be revealed. So, what to do now? After thinking for a while, Mark let out a smile. "I guess I'm going to depend on that steroid once again." If not for those advancement pills, Mark would have attempted to make another breakthrough. He received 8,000 credits as a reward for the breakthrough. If he can just exchange 20,000 gold coins for 4,000 credits and use them to buy intermediate intelligence pills, he could just become sixth circle right away. But in such a case, intermediate advancement pills would no longer work. The reason he takes those pills is to get a temporary boost of ether energy points. With his meager 1,000 ether points, even if he becomes a Supreme Realm expert, it would be useless. This is why he stopped at rank 5 and decided to stay there until he manages to get his hands on high-quality advancement pills or raise his ether points by steadily absorbing the energy from ether crystals. After the plan is formed, Elena took the unconscious heir of the Jai clan and stepped outside the tank. Mark proceeded to open the inventory and click on the attack helicopter, summoning it beside the tank. Chapter 133.2, Taming a Beast King Part 2. Elena threw the kid in the back and stepped inside the pilot chamber. The attack helicopter slowly rose in the air and flew towards one of the portals. After it gets inside, Mark tried to communicate with her through the system. Ding, Elena replies that she can hear you. Okay, connect me to Elena's vision, he said to the system. Soon, a holographic screen appeared before him. Mark saw a sleeping giant dragon, which is as big as the Statue of Liberty. Thinking about the dungeon break, where all the generals of the Beast King were the same beasts, he expected it might be a dragon. Of course, the other possibilities weren't put away either. Mark took out the advancement pill and swallowed it. Ding, select the stat you wish to increase temporarily. Ding, your intelligence stat temporarily has been increased by 1. Ding, you temporarily reach rank 6. Ding, your ether points temporarily boosted to 1 million. Ding, you temporarily received a new summon, the Thunder Shark. Ding, you temporarily received a new summon, Ice Leopard. Oh, thank goodness, I received a good one from the Ice family. A shark will be useless in land battles, but then again, I only need one beast to operate. Mark sighed in relief and drove into the second portal. What welcomed him is the sight of a giant scorpion. I guess they were different after all. He climbed the ladder and got outside to summon the Ice Leopard. But the moment his head was out, the scorpion sensed the presence and opened its eyes. It made a sound with its pincers and moved its tail in excitement since it's been a while it tasted the meat of a human. Come out, Ice Leopard. He hurriedly summoned the six-circle beast and ordered it to take care of the beast. Meanwhile, he got inside the tank and drove towards the left to stay a distance from the two. Roar! Letting out a hoarse and weak roar, the Ice Leopard, which is about 20 ft big, dashed forward. The scorpion no longer sensed a human, so its attention shifted to the incoming beast. The fierce beast waited for the leopard to get near. It was ready to spew out poisonous gas from its mouth at any time. But the Ice Leopard wasn't just a simple beast. It has a master who can outsmart the giant scorpion's brain with ease. As soon as the Ice Leopard covered half the distance, Mark gave an order through telepathy while he was looking at the skills. Don't go head-on. Make circles around it and create illusions with your fastest speed, then attack with a rush skill. Following the orders, the Ice Leopard started to circle around the beast that is 15 times its size, just about 20 meters away. 10 seconds passed and Mark got the effect he wanted. Due to its 6.8 points of agility, even he found it difficult to spot the original one. 10 more seconds passed and the giant scorpion was now confused. It was attacking empty spots over and over with its stinger and the pincers. Feeling irritated, it spun around itself while releasing poisonous gas around it. Within no time, the Ice Leopard was affected by the poison, but it ignored the gas and activated the skill, Rush. Soon, what appeared like a beam of light struck the giant scorpion from sideways, and it was blasted away for more than a dozen meters. The attack contained the power of the peak stage 7 circle realm, so it was quite injured by the successful ambush. Maybe, due to Mark's luck, the injured giant scorpion coincidentally fell on its back and flapped its legs, struggling to get back on its feet. Mark's ether points were deducted by 200,000. With an earlier deduction for the summoning, his current ether points stand at 700,000. Unfortunately for him, the poison was too powerful for a six-circle beast. The ice leopard was already in dire status and was dismissed right away. Meanwhile, the giant scorpion pushed its back against the ground with great force and flew into the air, and tried to twist its body in the air. Having no other choice, Mark was ready to leave the place. It was at that moment he saw a missile strike its abdomen, resulting in a heavy explosion. What the? He was taken aback when he watched on the screen. He quickly looked at screen 5 where an attack helicopter was seen flying in the sky, nearly at 320 meters altitude from the ground. He couldn't hear the sound of the rotor blades, so he didn't notice until now. He immediately sent a message through the system. Soon, a reply came. Ding, Elena wishes to report that the 3 beasts were taken care of. That fast. A trace of surprise appeared on Mark before realization dawned upon him. I forgot that I created a lot of missiles during the fight with Sway Clan. He said, System, ask Elena how many missiles and unguided rockets she had used. Ding, Elena replies that including this, she had used a total of 4 Hellfire missiles, 6 Hydra 70, and 11 Mistral missiles so far. Oh, those were higher than I thought. I guess these beasts were at the peak stage. No wonder this didn't die earlier with one shot, Mark mumbled to himself before dismissing the beast and asking Elena to finish the rest without holding back. With heavy injuries over its body, the giant scorpion stands on its feet. Its attention now shifted to the attack helicopter. As the Hellfire missile was launched once again, it raised its pincers in time to crush the tiny thing. But as soon as the contact was made, it detonated right away, creating a massive explosion once again. Despite knowing that it can't harm him or his battle tank, Mark couldn't help but reverse the vehicle in hurry as part of instinct. In an instant, the surroundings changed on their own. The smoke disappeared, and what appeared on the screen is a giant portal, which is purple in color. Mark realized that he probably unlocked the door to the boss. At the same time, he felt like he was stupid for wasting 30,000 ether points on nothing. He could have just waited outside and let Elena finish the job. And so, he was forced to wait for half an hour to recover his ether points to full. In the meantime, he formed a strategy and explained it to Elena. It was quite a simple one too. Soon, the tank slowly moved towards the portal while at the same time, an attack helicopter also followed from the sky at the topmost part of the portal, as neither of them knows how big this beast going to be. The surroundings were the same, plain ground with no grass or big rocks or anything. Ho ho ho, an intruder, how long has it been? But it's strange that I can't sense the presence of humans. Are those 2 puppets? Interesting. A deep voice, heavily resembling a human, escaped in the surroundings, but too bad neither Elena nor Mark could hear what it is. However, it doesn't matter as the final boss already appeared on the screen. Contrary to his expectations, it wasn't big at all. The beast barely reached the size of 4 ft big and 7 ft long, excluding its 3 ft tail. It is a grayish-brownish manticore with a lion's figure and paws, golden spikes covering its body, the fangs of a saber-tooth, and the horns and wings of a dragon. Its eyes and tail's tip glow a bright blue. Chapter 134.3, Taming a Beast King Part 3. Proceeding with the plan, as the battle tank stopped right at the entrance, Elena locked onto the beast from a 1,000 ft altitude and launched a Hellfire missile. As soon as the missile was launched, the manticore placed its attention on the vehicle. What is that? It didn't know what the thing that was coming towards it. This was the first time the beast had witnessed such mysterious weapons and their attack. Savage Baltro couldn't also sense the power, as it doesn't contain ether energy or natural energy. Unlike the fierce beasts, this Beast King was highly intelligent, probably smarter than an average adventurer. It wasn't also highly proud of its strength because it already tasted the first hand of a human's strength. Since these puppets managed to kill the subordinates, the Beast King didn't underestimate the attack and flapped its wings. To evade the missile, the manticore swiftly flew to the side, but the latter changed the path as soon as it did. With the missile's speed hitting 1.3 Mach even while changing the directions, the surprised manticore didn't get the time to evade it. But it did protect itself by erecting a weak barrier around itself. The missile hit the barrier and detonated. A powerful explosion destroyed the barrier and blasted away the Beast King. However, there were no injuries on the manticore. It stood on its feet and calmly stared at the helicopter. So, its power is at the peak stage of the seven-circle realm, huh? Two of them could easily wipe out one of my generals. No wonder the master behind these puppets is confident in challenging me. Savage Baltro mumbled before glancing at the battle tank. I wonder why that thing isn't going to make a move. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. The manticore no longer put its attention on it after seeing another missile was launched from the helicopter. It's the same one. The moment the Beast King spotted the Hellfire missile coming at it once again, it launched a counterattack. It spewed out a giant fireball at the incoming missile. But the missile target locking system didn't let it touch anything other than the target. To its surprise, the Hellfire missile skillfully made a sharp turn and evaded the fireball, and continued to fly towards the Beast King. The manticore also acted quickly by erecting another barrier, the same as the last one. Once again, it was blasted dozens of meters away, although without any injuries. Meanwhile, Elena controlled the steering to move fly towards the left and dodge the fireball. After traveling for another couple of 100 meters, the fireball disappeared on its own. Elena didn't fail to spot it. Mark received a notification. Ding! Elena says that the range of the Dungeon Overlord's fireball is exactly 521.34 meters. I see. This Beast King can shoot the targets half a kilometer away. Mark nodded in understanding before letting out a smile. Not as powerful as my modern weapons, though. I can shoot the target from kilometers away. And once I developed my ingenious Aryan missile, which couldn't see the light because of those cowardly higher authorities, I could wipe out anything within 21,000 kilometers range. But I'm not Earth. I can't be sure of whether it can cover every place on the planet. This planet might even be bigger. In that case, I need to improve its range. I should go to the Information Guild to gather the info. Anyway, that's still far away. Let's not think too much about it and focus on this Beast King. Mark stared at the screen and watched the battle. After Elena used up all the 4 Hellfire missiles and proceeded to reload them, the Beast King finally left the ground and flew towards the helicopter. Mark slammed the hand rest in excitement. Yes, the helicopter now had the complete attention of the Dungeon Overlord. He then sent a message to Elena. Upon receiving it, Elena didn't hesitate to launch 4 Hellfire missiles one after the other successively. Savage Baltro was taken aback by her move, but then it calmly faced it by erecting another barrier around it, although this time it was a stronger one. The first missile struck the barrier and caused a massive explosion, but the barrier was intact, and the manticore continued to fly before another missile struck it. By the time it covered 1/3 of the distance, 4 consecutive massive explosions were seen in the sky. By the end of the 4th, the barrier was finally destroyed, but the uninjured Beast King flew out of all those smoke and flew towards the helicopter. While reloading another 4 missiles, Elena flew the helicopter to a higher position in the same way she did when facing Song Yun in a battle, on the day of a public trial. With a speed of 290 km/h, the attack helicopter was found to be moving in a spiral route but covering a wide area. It was done this way so that Elena could confuse the beast and move at the highest speed without an issue, although it would cost more fuel. At the same time, Elena was launching Mistral missiles, which are air-to-air missiles but only had the power of beginner 7-circle realm and can destroy peak 6-circle realm targets. So, it was nowhere strong to injure the Beast King. But at the very least, they managed to slow down the beast's speed, helping Elena to increase the distance between them. Despite its small size, the legendary Realm Beast King's top flying speed was only 254 km/h. This became an advantage T. Eventually, both of them reached a point where they are only appearing as a dot from the ground. Mark was watching through the screen, zooming by 40 times. It was a bit blurry, but he could at least figure out which one is the helicopter and which one is the beast. Ding, Elena says that she had reached 2.2 km altitude, waiting for further orders. Good, Mark let out a smile. He gave an order to play tag with the beast once he locked on to the target. Ding, your current intelligence stat is at 6.2. Ding, the maximum attack strength of battle tank is restricted to 9. The attack power is readjusted. Ding, the target is locked. The 120 cannon, grenade launch, and machine gun rose higher at 65 degrees while being charged up. Mark's ether energy was deducted by 50% in one go. A concentrated beam of energy was released by the 3 weapons and hit at one spot in the air, forming a huge energy sphere. 10, 9, 8. Mark started the countdown in excitement as the energy sphere started becoming bigger. The beast noticed within 3 seconds this power. It didn't hesitate to abandon the helicopter and dived down with its maximum speed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. The giant energy sphere was shot towards the Beast King. Sorry, but you are too late. Mark let out a pleasant smile and relaxed a bit. He was confident that everything will be over. But then a surprise arrived before his eyes. The Beast King used all of its ether energy from the core and unleashed a skill, unyielding. A layer of purple energy appeared over its skin. Chapter 135, Impression. The giant energy sphere penetrated its body and exploded inside, but unlike the man-faced spider, it didn't explode into pieces but just turned into a bloody figure while falling onto the ground. It didn't lose its consciousness but couldn't move its body either. The Beast King was making slight noises while lying on the ground, motionless. This beast is damn tough, Mark mumbled to himself. Since he still had 50% ether energy left and the skill of the battle tank didn't have any cooldown timer, he wondered whether he should use it once again. It was at that moment the system sent a notification, taking him by surprise. Ding, based on the calculations, the host has a 70% chance to capture the beast by using the Taming Scroll Spirit Beast contract. Since when did this sassy system start giving suggestions without being asked? Mark wondered at first before he received another notification. Is it because of the upgrade? Ding, based on the blood loss and recovery ability, the Beast King will die in 36 seconds. When he read that, Mark quickly left the seat and got out of the tank. Upon landing on the ground, he rushed forward and stopped about 50 meters away from the beast, just to be safe. Elena was also ready to launch the missile, in case the beast suddenly tries to ambush her master. Placing the Taming Scroll on the ground, Mark spoke loudly because it's common knowledge that Beast Kings can speak and understand human language. You are about to face true death very soon. Unlike your subordinates, as the dungeon overlord, you cannot return to your home. You know that. Accept me as your master and live. You can become free from this prison too. With only less time on his hands, he went straight to the point without trying to convince with the benefits and all. Mark then proceeded to pour the ether energy into the contract that he paid for 3,000 gold coins. The purple energy on the seal lit up and shot a rope towards Mark, who threw it at the Beast King. The rope turned into a concentrated energy beam and hit the back of the target. Unlike before, the beam just connected to the Beast King for 15 whole seconds, even though it was on the brink of its death. About 10 odd seconds away from its death, the Beast King forced out a mutter under its breath, "Very well, if that keeps me alive." A bright glow appeared over its body before it disappeared from Mark's sight. Meanwhile, he received a series of notifications. Ding, you successfully formed a contract with Savage Baltro. Ding, congratulations on taming an 8-circle spirit beast. Ding, it is a king-grade beast. You received 5,000 credits as a reward. Ding, you completed the emergency quest, clear the dungeon. Ding, you unlocked Howitzer PHZ 2000. Check the gallery for details. Ha 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 ha, Mark started laughing crazily at the top of his lungs. An 8-circle beast king as a contracted beast. Now, who would dare to touch me? Neither the Jai clan nor the imperial palace is a match for it. His laugh suddenly disappeared and he had a cold gaze. He clenched his fist. Queen Consort Lan Jingyi, you abandoned a one-day-old baby boy because he wasn't born with ether core, but the heavens decided to be on my side. You enjoyed your life for the past 25 years. Now it's time to face retribution. Since you gave birth to this body, I wouldn't kill you, but I'll show how it feels to lose everything. First, I'll take away the authority and power, then money, and after that free. It looked like your heart is filled with a lot of darkness, young man. A pity indeed. All of a sudden, an aged voice was heard in the surroundings, taking Mark by surprise. He instantly stopped babbling about his revenge and looked around. There's no one to be seen. Who is it? He furrowed his brows and spoke out aloud. Since he still has 500,000 ether points left, he was prepared to summon Tundra Bear and Lightning Fox at any moment. A projection appeared before him. Mark instinctively moved back and put his guard up and stared at the 3D holographic projection. It was a frail-looking old man who looked like a rich scholar, although his attire was unfamiliar. The style is different from what nobles and princes wear. Mark inspected him with Sage's eye. All he could see were question marks. Don't need to worry about me. This is just a stored consciousness of mine, which will disappear soon once my objective is fulfilled. The projection spoke to him in a calm manner. Mark thought for a bit and asked in suspicion, "Are you the dungeon creator?" "Well, yes, that's obvious, isn't it?" The projection looked at him as if he was a fool for asking such silly questions. He continued, "Anyway, let me introduce myself. I'm Changhua of Yao clan. My lineage name is Yaoyu, although I was more known with the name Yu Shun or Emperor Shun." Yao clan, Mark went into his memories. He never heard of it. He doesn't know who this Emperor Shun is either. Is he someone from other empires? As far as knows, only two dynasties ruled this place. One is the Xia dynasty and now the Shang dynasty. Seeing the confused look of Mark, Emperor Shun's projection continued to say, "It's been more than 4,000 years since I was dead. It's no surprise that one forgets my name. Ever heard of Xia dynasty?" Mark nodded in response. "Good," Emperor Shun nodded. "My successor is Xia Yu, the one who established the Xia dynasty." Mark's eyes were widened in surprise. He took a step back and asked, "You are the predecessor of Emperor Yu?" Emperor Shun let out a smile. "Yes, I appoint him as my successor before leaving for the cultivation and make a breakthrough to enter the realm of immortals. On the way, I was ambushed by that darn demoness. Eventually, I did make a breakthrough, but my physical body couldn't support the power at that time. Before my death, I managed to create a puppet, which was capable of holding my soul for thousands of years. For so long, I was making preparations for my return with a grand spell. I collected the necessary items. As if the gods were angry with me that I was trying to defy my fate. On the day I was supposed to perform the ritual and get back to the living, my tomb was raided, and I had to fight them. Because of a strong immortal realm 11-circle spirit warrior accompanying them, my puppet couldn't handle them, and eventually it was destroyed under the attacks. All of my possessions were stolen, except but one. I managed to seal a fragment of my soul into my divine grade sword and escape the place. I traveled to several realms for several decades to look for a successor. As you know, our realm has a low amount of natural energy. It takes a long time to convert into ether crystals." "Ether crystals?" Mark was confused once again. Everyone in the world knows that the age of ether started with Shang dynasty, and that too, only 1,700 years ago. So how did this old man from 4,000 years ago even know of their existence? And he was a demigod too during his rule over the eastern continent. Chapter 136, Choosing Between Alan and a Divine Sword. Mark only grew more confused about the history of this world. Is there a distortion in history? Maybe. The Xia dynasty rewrote it to have a monopoly over the ether mines. Emperor Shun continued, "I met with a few geniuses who were noble and virtuous, but they didn't have fate with me. All the 5 died young. Of course, It's not that I'm cursed or something. It's just that their circumstances were a bit different. Anyway, a decade ago, I decided to return to Earth to try my luck here. During my travels, I found that only our world has dungeons and dungeon creators. As a dungeon creator myself, I captured a few beasts and created a dungeon to see the worthy successor of mine, but never in the world did I expect anyone would be able to defeat a beast king from the savage lands. Anyway, enough of my story. I'll come to the point directly. At the moment, I don't know where my corpse is located. I would be happy if it is in the same place, but I don't hope much. He closed his eyes and raised his hand. A glowing, exquisite broadsword appeared in his hand. Emperor Shun then opened his eyes and looked at Mark. This is a divine sword called Ares, forged by the dwarves. It is meant to be possessed by the greatest king under the heavens. I received it from my predecessor as an inheritance. Normally, I would have passed it to my successor, but he rejected it, saying that he won't continue my lineage and start fresh with his own dynasty. I respected his wishes and brought them with me, back when I left the palace. I was only hoping that someone is strong enough to kill the beast, but I didn't expect to meet someone to tame it. It is even a surprise that it went inside you, probably to the mindscape, where usually only soul weapons can stay. Anyway, everyone has their own secrets, so I won't be prying into your own. As the one who liberated the beasts in this dungeon, you are entitled to get a reward. It's an unofficial rule abided by every dungeon creator. At first, I want you to have this sword, but your heart is filled with vengeance, and I can see there's too much darkness inside your soul. I'm afraid you aren't suitable to hold it. But still, you have to get something, so I will give you two choices. One, you'll be handed this divine sword, and of course, naturally, I will follow you, but I will let you use its power for 1 year until you found a worthy soul. Two, I'll teach you a skill that lets you travel to different realms. Pick one. The sword looks amazing, but can it be as powerful as nukes? Definitely no. Moreover, I either use summoning beasts or modern weapons. What is the use of a sword? And that too only a year. Mark fell into thoughts comparing the two of them. On the other hand, traveling to different realms seems like a wonderful idea. Maybe I can even return to my own Earth. A possibility exists, right? As Mark was heavily leaning towards the second option, a holographic screen suddenly appeared before his eyes with surprising notifications. Ding, the system recommends taking the sword. Ding, if the host doesn't like it, the weapon can be traded with the system for 100 million credits unlock of meteor missiles and twin-engine combat aircraft. 100 million credits, Mark gasped in shock as he said that aloud. Emperor Shun furrowed his brows. What is he talking about? With a few thousand credits, he reached rank 5. With so much of credits, not only he could instantly become a Supreme Realm expert, but once he exchanged the remaining credits with gold, he could buy all the ether crystals and still be the richest person in the whole Phoenix Empire. But wait for a second, if the system is offering that much, then the sword must be really special, far more special than Savage Baltro or the corpse of Cerberus. If that's the case, he can never hand it over to the system because the most precious things are meant to be kept, not to be sold. He went on with his quick calculations and asked in his head, System, is it a celestial graded weapon? And if you can claim this weapon, does that mean you can erase his soul? Ding, it is confirmed to be a celestial grade sword. Ding, yes, the system can use the Proto's energy to erase the soul fragment. Then, if I decided to keep it, will you do me a favor and erase the soul fragment of Emperor Shun? He asked the system, although not expecting any positive answer. And as expected, the system gave a reply. Ding, the system follows the law of exchange. The host cannot expect the system to do a favor without giving something in return. I want to give the sword to Alan or Elena. You can even bind it to either of them in case you think I will use it or sell it elsewhere. Name your price. Mark tried to cut deal with the system while the clueless emperor is waiting for the answer. After a brief amount of silence, the system agreed to the decision but asked for an exchange. You want me to give up Alan? Are you crazy? Mark immediately roared in his head. Clearly, he didn't like the deal. How could he like it? Lately, he might be roaming with Elena, but Alan was someone who he really treated like family. He felt the system has gone too far. The system was also ready with its reply. Ding, Alan Spencer was given as a part of the beginner package. The host didn't earn through either hard work or through lottery. Ding, the host successfully tamed a legendary realm beast king, possessed an attack helicopter, possessed battle tank V, has a rank 6 android assistant, and unlocked the howitzer. At present, the host doesn't necessarily need Alan Spencer. Chapter 137, M134 Minigun. If that's the case, I will refuse the sword. For you, he might be a android, but for me, his family. His value can't be measured by some sword or money. Mark didn't even take 2 seconds to make the decision. He was very firm on it. Ding, think about it once again. The sword isn't a normal one. People wouldn't hesitate to wage wars against kingdoms to acquire such a sword. Mark no longer paid attention to the system that was trying to tempt him. Looking at Emperor Shun, he opened his mouth. Emperor Shun, I have decided. I choose. Ding, then, instead of Alan, the host can choose either Battle Tank V or Attack Helicopter EC-665. In exchange, the system will erase the soul fragment of Emperor Shun and bind it to Alan Spencer. Deal. Mark stopped talking when the new notification arrived. Emperor Shun furrowed his brows. What happened, young man? I'm waiting for your choice. Mark answered, I need more time, please wait for a minute. After responding to the old man, Mark spoke to the system. Battle tank and attack helicopter are my trump cards, you know. I don't think the sword will be more worth than either of them. Not to mention, you are only binding the sword to Alan. Ding, what he was offering is only for a year. If the system erases his soul, then Alan would receive celestial graded equipment for free. Ding, with upgrade crystals, Alan's strength can be upgraded to until rank 10. The stronger the android becomes, the more powerful he will get with the celestial graded sword. Hence, the system believes this is a fair exchange. It was then Mark finally realized why the system intended to ask Alan in exchange. At the same time, he saw that the system really wanted him to claim the item. Or else, why would it keep trying to convince him? He thought of taking advantage of the situation and negotiated with the system. I know those upgrade crystals are too rare. They couldn't even be bought. So, by the time Alan become rank 10, I believe that not only I would have already reached that stage, but also would have completed enough quests to unlock the nukes. So, your proposal is quite unfair to me, system. Since you believe in a fair exchange to give up either of these two amazing vehicles, you should add something else like some firearm or vehicles like submarine or warship or a missile. Only that way, it will be fair. There was a brief silence from the system. About more than 10 seconds later. Ding, the most system can offer is a limited time lottery pick ticket as extra 7 days. Deal, Mark agreed right away. System. Meanwhile, Emperor Shun was wondering what the person is thinking. Why is it so difficult to decide? He couldn't understand it. Anyone can tell that the second option is the right choice. In fact, he doesn't want Mark to pick the divine sword either. After all, he doesn't like the darkness which is developed inside Mark. So, he purposely put the second option so that he can leave searching for his successor. At the same time, he was also curious about this young man's background. The attack helicopter and the battle tank were new things to him, and he looked so young too. At that age, to defeat and tame a beast king like the Baltro is indeed an amazing feat. Moreover, the divine sword itself seemed to acknowledge him and become quite restless. It only means that the young man standing before him either belongs to the royal lineage or contained a powerful bloodline of a divine beast. Little he knows that the sword is barely sensing the presence of the system, which is residing in Mark's soul. Your Majesty, before I tell you my decision, I need your help in identifying something. Mark spoke to him after finally making the decision of choosing the trade. What is it? Emperor Shun asked with curiosity. Mark opened the inventory and took out a rusty ring and stretched its hand towards the old man. I received this from someone who claimed this belonged to Emperor Yu. Can you help me? The soul fragment of Emperor Shun flew towards Mark. Even with closing the distance, he couldn't identify it because it was completely rusty. Well, I'm not sure, but if Zia Yu got this item along with the crown as a part of royal jewelry, then this can identity it. Emperor Shun raised the divine sword and put it near Mark's hand. Maybe it's just his arm, but it seemed as if the sword was shaking. As the tip of the blade touched the rusty ring glowed brightly and floated in the air, bringing a smile to both Mark as well as the spirit. It appeared to be a part of royal jewelry that I used to wear and was passed on to my successor, indeed. As it returned to Mark's hand, displaying its original appearance, he inspected it with the sage eye. At the same time, the system sent him a notification. Ding, the system sent a trade request. Use ring. Grade Ruby. Description: Ring of Emperor Yu the Great. It is also known as the Ring of Immortality. With the help of this ring, Emperor Yu almost lived for 5 centuries. Skill: the wearer can absorb the lifespan of the target by 1 year. CD: 24 hours. Side effect: every time the wearer absorbs life, their soul will be corrupted by little. Damn, the ring is good and bad at the same time. Let's see what the system offered this time. Mark clicked on the notification. Even though the ring's grade is very high, Mark wasn't keen on having it because of its side effect. Corruption of the soul will lead to madness and loss of complete morals. Then, how did Emperor Yu manage to do it? Maybe he too was corrupted after ruling for 60-odd years and passed the throne to his son. The history of the Xia dynasty was also distorted, after all. Except for the last emperor of Xia who made a mess, the predecessors weren't that much known to the public. Ding, trade use ring with M134 mini-gun, gold graded. Chapter 138, Trading Away the Battle Tank. Oh, that Gatling-style gun. Mark knew the machine gun, which was once one of the fastest guns capable of shooting 2,400 rounds per minute. He was naturally happy to receive it in exchange, but what slightly disappointed him is that it is a graded weapon. He knew the system very well. It wouldn't let a graded weapon be sold. Now, the only thing that matters is whether this machine gun has any worthy skills or not. With the weapon only being in gold grade, Mark didn't have much hope, but still, he asked the system for its details. M134 minigun. Type machine gun. Grade gold. Ammo 7.62 x 51. Barrels 6. Weight 39 kg. Length 801.6. Barrel length 558.8. Muzzle velocity 850 meters sec. Effective range 500 meters. Accuracy 100%. Absolute range 1000 meters. Accuracy 20%. RPM 1,600 can be set beforehand. Description: a destructive machine gun that is capable of destroying enemies within a snap of a finger. Consumption: the machine gun uses the user's ether energy as its power source. It consumes 1 ether energy point per every second. Skills: ether bullets. The user could charge the machine gun with ether energy and use energy bullets in place of 7.62 x 51 ammo. Each bullet fired from one barrel has the power to eliminate any target under the peak 3 circle realm. Cost: 10,000 ether points per 100 rounds. Super beam. The machine gun will be charged for 10 seconds and create a concentrated beam of energy to shoot it at the enemy with 130% attack power. Cost: 50% of maximum ether energy. CD: 10 minutes. Note: the system recommends the host to have at least 1.5 points of strength before trying to use the ammunition to handle the recoil force. Until then, it is recommended for the host to use the fixed mount. Oh, 130%. That's not bad if I consider the cooldown timer. As for the ether bullets, they aren't worth much. Another problem is its weight. I can lift 40 kg, but I can't hold it for too long. There's recoil force I need to consider. I guess I need to depend on the mount until I gain the necessary strength. Maybe I can just keep it in the entrance to make it more intimidating. And there's consumption. 60 ether points isn't a big deal either way. Currently, I have about 2,000 ether points. That means I can easily operate the gun continuously for 30 minutes. That's like shooting 100,000 bullets at the enemies. It's awesome, but gonna be expensive for sure. Anyway, let's not wait for this old man for too long. Who knows whether he might change his decision due to impatience. After asking a couple of questions, Mark proceeded to accept the trade. The ring disappeared from his hand. Ding, M134 minigun has been unlocked. Check out the gallery for details. Ding, 7.62 x 51 ammunition has been unlocked. After he was done with it, Mark looked at the old man and faked out his expression with a bright smile as if he appeared to be excited. I'm willing to take the sword. I live in Imperial City and was acquainted with a few nobles and a prince who had awakened a phoenix bloodline. So, I'm sure that I can find you a successor. The 9 points of charm worked on the spirit of Emperor Shun, who trusted Mark's words and nodded. As soon as he left the divine sword, it flew by itself and landed in Mark's right hand. I will be resting inside the divine sword for the next year. I hope you find the potential successor. Emperor Shun then flew into the divine sword. As soon as the old man disappeared, Mark received a request from the system for official confirmation. Ding, you received a trade request from the system. He clicked on it. Ding, trade either battle tank V or attack helicopter EC-665 with the removal of soul fragment from the celestial grade sword and bind it to Allen, lottery pick ticket, 7 days. I trade battle tank V, Mark spoke to the system. Ding, confirm with battle tank V. Yes. The battle tank behind him and the sword in his hands, both of them disappeared at the same time, and he received a confirmation. Along with that, there were some surprising notifications that he didn't take into account. Ding, the battle tank V has successfully been traded. Ding, 96 of K3, 120 ammo, have been returned to the system. The debt was reduced by 192 ether crystals low. Ding, 94 of 40 grenades have been returned to the system. The debt was reduced by 470 gold coins. Ding, 834 of C6, 12.7 ammo, have been returned to the system. The debt was reduced by 834 gold coins. So I guess I made a loss about all those failures. Mark let out a sigh. When he thought about the character of the system, he felt like it perfectly makes sense. Since it takes an hour to complete the process, Mark forgot about the sword and opened the lottery wheel. Nearly 3 days ago, the cooldown timer has already ended, but Mark didn't meet any proper enemy to absorb luck points. Even now, he doesn't want to risk absorbing Jai Guanli's luck. After all, there are 2 things available on the wheel. The rest of the 19 spaces are empty. Unless he possesses 10 points of luck, he cannot risk wasting the turn and waiting for another 7 days. Keeping the lottery wheel window on the side, Mark opened the inventory and clicked on the lottery pick ticket. He held on to it for 2 seconds before a prompt appeared. Use. Yes. The lottery ticket disappeared and took away all the empty spaces temporarily, leaving behind only 2 rewards. One upgrade stone and the other is a unique skill. After thinking briefly, he selected the upgrade stone, aiming to improve his luck. He doesn't want to keep the matters pending any longer. Ding, upgrade stone is being sent to the inventory. The lottery wheel returned to its earlier state with only 1 reward and 20 empty spaces. Below it, the spin option is available. Mark right away searched the inventory and found a blue-colored stone with white patches on it. He took out the stone and held it. The stone was lightweight and has a smooth surface, but was very hard like steel. He inspected it. Upgrade stone. Grade NA. Description: use the upgrade stone to improve the quality of equipment. Following the instructions from the system, Mark took out his ring and placed it on the ground. He inspected the ring. There was an upgrade option that became available at the end of its details. He clicked on it. Ding, upgrade stone will be consumed. Proceed. Yes. A blinding flash of light covered the gold ring for a few seconds before it once again revealed to be the same without any appearance chance. While it still looks like a gold ring, it is successfully upgraded, although unfortunately not a platinum grade. Mark wore it and then inspected it with sage eyes. A. Ring of Luck bound. Grade Gold Plus. Description: absorbs the luck from the targets, increasing the wearer's luck. Effects: Luck plus 5. Skill: absorb a maximum of 7 points of luck from the target. CD: 12 hours. System: is there a grade such as Gold Plus? Mark asked in confusion. He expected it to become a platinum grade. Chapter 139. A cat hatched from an egg. Ding, Plus, exists for each grade. Didn't host ever wonder why the exchange rate for a gold grade is between 100 credits 500 credits, while the silver grade is between 10 credits 50 credits? Ding, Plus grade will occur whenever the item is refined by a blacksmith or through the upgrade stone. Ding, to upgrade it to the platinum grade, the host needs one more upgrade stone. I see. Mark nodded in understanding. He didn't think it was a waste to choose it with the upgrade stone, as he could now reach 100% luck with the help of hostage. He ordered Elena to bring out the hostage. The moment the dungeon is clear, the helicopter is already started to descend, but even after landing, Elena didn't come out until she was called now. She waited until the old man disappeared and stepped out. The unconscious Jai Guanli was dragged out by Elena. Mark stared at the teenager and used the Ring of Luck's only ability. Ding, 3 points of luck are being absorbed. The host needed to stay for 90 seconds within 10 meters range of the target. Oh, the range has been increased. I didn't notice it, Mark exclaimed in surprise. 1.5 minutes later. Ding, 3 points of luck have been absorbed successfully. Ding, 5 minutes timer has started. I don't need 5 minutes anyway. Mark opened the lottery wheel once again and clicked on the spin right away. 300 credits were deducted, and the wheel started to spin. There was no tension on Mark's face, for he knew that it is going to land for sure. Ding, congratulations, you won a unique skill from the lottery wheel. Ding, select the attribute. Attribute, I guess the skill must be a useful one. Mark had a bit of hope while selecting the lightning attribute, as he already possessed 2 bloodline skills from the ice attribute. Ding, you received Thunderblast skill. Thunderblast, summon a lightning bolt from the heavens to strike down the enemy with 150% magic power. Cost, 50% ether energy. CD, 60 minutes. Cooldown is higher, but it is a strong skill. It will be helpful in times of need. Mark was satisfied with the skill. If he had seen this even a few hours ago, he would have started jumping in joy. But after getting the Divine Sword, Beast King, Howitzer, and Minigun, he was a bit calmer when he received the skill. It was like his $100,000 investment in crypto made him a billionaire, and then he received $1 million lottery. Of course, he would be happy, but the value of $1 million to a billionaire won't be much. The same situation happened with Mark. Meanwhile, the lottery wheel refreshed. Once again, 7 new items appeared with 2 empty spaces between each one. A few of them are common, like Unique Skill, Peak Potion, and +2, but the other 3 are different from before. Mark's body shivered in excitement when he saw those items. The first of that trio is a light combat aircraft. The second one is an upgrade crystal, and the last one is a shocking reconnaissance satellite. Love you, system, you are the best. Mark laughed out loud in excitement. With such a spy satellite, the whole world will be in his hands. Even the so-called web spy network will be useless. As for the lack of computers and such tech, he doesn't worry about it. After working with the system for weeks, he could at least guess that the system will be the one that receives signals and will show him the live feed. But in the next second, the sassy system poured water on his happiness with a simple statement. Ding, the host shouldn't be too happy. Even if the host acquires the satellite, the host doesn't possess any rocket launching station or even a space rocket to carry the satellite into space. Fuck, Mark cursed out in realization. He was a military weapon designer, not a researcher at NASA. How would he know the mechanics of building one? Even if the system helps him with that, this world is too backward in technology. In the end, he asked the system whether he could earn them through some method like through the quests, or something like that. In response, the system sent a simple and effective reply. Ding, please upgrade the system. Arg, fine. Mark dismissed the lottery wheel and took out a glossy black egg from the inventory. It's the mysterious egg he earned from clearing the dungeon of Taslin. Now that he had 10 luck points, he proceeded with hatching the egg with a simple click. Ding, please drop a drop of blood on the egg to form a contract with your soul. Betting on his luck, he took out a kitchen knife from the inventory and carefully cut his palm and squeezed a drop of blood onto the egg. Crack! In an instant, the egg cracked in the middle before a little paw came out. Ding, congratulations on obtaining a Beast Emperor as the mount. You receive 50,000 credits as a reward. 50,000. Mark was stunned for a second before bursting out with laughter. I knew that 10 points of luck will work even if there is only 1% probability. I think I should take this opportunity to create the ammunition for Panzer Howitzer and A. Crack! The other little paw came out and soon the head. Mark was frozen when he saw the head. Eventually, the whole body came out, covered in sticky fluid, but its appearance was clear. The golden-furred baby beast wasn't half even the size of an egg. Mark just stared at the beast in a daze as it pushed away all the fluid with a thought. The beast looked at Mark with a gaze filled with love, accepting him as a parent. It opened its mouth, meow. A cat? Mark rubbed his eyes and took a closer look at the beast, taking it into his hands as it struggled to walk towards him. This is a Beast Emperor, and how the fuck a cat can be hatched from an egg? What kind of concept is this? System, are you playing a joke on me? Ding, you acquired the egg from the dungeon, not from the system. Ah, that's right, sorry. Mark apologized upon realizing it. Normally, he acquired precious treasures from the system. In shock, he forgot it for a moment. He quickly activated the sage eyes and inspected it. Unnamed. Grade Imp. Species cat. Attribute water, wind, and light. Rank 1. Description: a beast with mysterious origins. Meow. It let out a soft yell as its attention fell on his hand. The blue gem on the golden-furred cat glowed a bit before a small beam of light hit his palm, healing the cut. And then it fell on its side right away before a blinding flash of light covered it and disappeared. Ding, the beast is feeling fatigued. It was stored in the familiar's inventory. While it continued to rest after performing healing right after it was born, Mark named it Tishanan after confirming with the system that it is a male one. Chapter 140, The Devil Spawn of Yuan Clan. The same day evening. Dasong County, Southern Yuan Province. In a county located in the southernmost part of the empire, nearby the ocean, there stood a handsome manor house surrounded by elaborated gardens, including a fountain. The gray painting over the mansion and the darkness in the surroundings gave off an eerie feeling. A person in soldier attire was seen passing through the gate and reaching the entrance of the mansion. For this large mansion, only 2 guards were placed outside the gate, and both of them were just standing straight without any expression. The door opened inwardly on its own without anyone visibly opening it. He entered calmly, but his pace was quite fast. If not for the fact that the running is against the etiquette, he would have already done that so. The entrance hall was large, dimly lit, and lavishly decorated. A large carpet was covering the whole concrete floor. At the end of the hall, a staircase splits into left and right while leading to the first floor. It was quite empty, one should say, with the minimum number of servants and almost no visitations from any elders. The servants also had the same expression as if they were puppets. Nevertheless, the place is spotless. It is well maintained. He took the left path. On the way, he glanced around at the portraits placed along the wall as he climbed up. In an instant, his body is stiffened when he found their eyes moving. Fu, it's not your first time here, Yi Hai. Be cool. Taking a deep breath, he looked down at the steps and just climbed the stairs in silence. He reached the first floor and walked towards a closed room, followed by knocking on the door twice. Just like with the entrance door, it opened on its own, revealing a young man in his 20s. His messy hair was brown and quite long. It was almost touching the floor while he was in a sitting position. It was a dim-lit room with minimum furniture. There was a simple cot and a thin mattress on top of it. There was a wooden desk and chair. There was a wooden wardrobe in the corner of the room. Compared to how lavish the mansion is, it was indeed surprising. Other than that, there's a portrait on the wall where a boy was seen with a beautiful young woman. The young man was busy writing something. He was so engrossed in it that he didn't even sense the presence of an outsider. Master Yuan, the soldier called out the young man after waiting for a few seconds. It was only then the young man finally turned his head. One of his eyes is covered with a patch. The other eye is bloodshot, looking like he didn't sleep for a while. There is an X-shaped scar on his right cheek. Yihai, the young man appeared to be acquainted with this soldier. He asked, "What is it?" The prison of Baltro was cleared. The soldier informed him. "What?" The young man suddenly raised his voice, only to turn it into hoarse and coughed out a bit. He then asked, "Say it again. Did you say that someone killed that beast?" Yihai nodded. "A while ago, our soldiers stationed at the Baltro Tower spotted something like a puppet that has wheels going into the portal. The portal turned white in color, and after that, it was the same puppet exited from it. A moment later, a flying puppet exited from the portal. Based on the descriptions given by our watchers, only one person was known to possess something similar to those two items. His name is Lu Zhen, the Cerberus Slayer. However, we have yet to confirm it. All we have is speculations. But it was confirmed that the dungeon is empty and will soon be destroyed in 3 days, following the world laws." A few drops of tears suddenly escaped the young man's eyes as he turned his head towards the portrait on the wall. A whisper escaped from him, "Mother." The young man stood upon his feet with a hardened expression. "Yihai, I'm going there to inspect the traces of the battle. In the meantime, send a letter to that uncle of mine that I'm returning to take back what's mine." You are returning. What about this place?" the soldier asked in surprise. "You said that when it's time for your return, this place has to be demolished. Do we really have to?" The young man removed the patch and revealed a glowing scarlet pupil. "I told that it will disappear, not demolished." It wasn't the first time the soldier had seen the glowing eye. So, he wasn't visibly surprised and only wondered why he had chosen to reveal it. However, in the next second, he shivered with a chill running down his spine when he found the surroundings instantly changed. Both of them are standing in the middle of a graveyard. He looked around. There were no gardens, fountains, the mansion couldn't be visible. But the entrance gate, the compound wall, the rocky hill on the left, and the lake on the right was the same. There were no guards outside the gate. Did we teleport? He wondered out loud, but there was no response from the young master he was serving. The latter was silent as he stared at a particular grave in silence. After a whole minute of silence, the young man opened his mouth slowly. "You said that the person who cleared the dungeon is named Lu Zhen." "Ah, yes, Master Yuan." The soldier's voice shook in a bit of fear as he answered. "If he can be teleported without being able to resist, then he can be killed too." "What do you know about him?" the young man asked. The soldier answered truthfully. "According to our sources, he runs a weapon store named Genesis at the Imperial City. He's also the sole weapon seller of firearms. They are a new type of weapons that civilians would be able to wield to defeat elementary spirit warriors. As for his combat ability, he is a summoner with a peak 7 circle realm. Some speculate that his cultivation realm is even higher. Aside from that, there's a flying puppet with him that he used to defeat the Grand Elder of the Sway clan. He also had a peerless beauty as a servant. She was known to be strong enough to go head-to-head with Supreme Commander Bai, and is beautiful enough to make any male fall for her." The young man nodded. "Okay, you can leave." As the soldier went towards the entrance gate with a clueless expression, the young man mumbled, Before leaving for the Leon Empire, I guess I will have to meet this Lu Zhen and express my thanks. On that day, a huge manor that is standing firmly for a decade disappeared without a trace. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Kunyu mountain range, an attack helicopter was seen hovering around while searching for the bandits. After finding a group, she landed the helicopter somewhere in the open and dismissed it before carrying the heir of Jai clan on her shoulder like some boar's corpse. The tips of the 2 daggers of hers were still embedded in his body to make sure his ether energy stays sealed. She proceeded to walk into the forest for a while until being surrounded by a group of bandits. All of them have lusts written on their faces. She cold-bloodedly killed everyone, except for one person before she gave her identity.